Great.
All right, this is Mark Sachs with Restoring Vision, and he's going to talk to us today about dispensing reading glasses and bringing joy to your mission. So, Mark, take it away.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Let me share my screen. Oh, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you?
Yep, try it again.
That? There we go. And that. There we go. Great. So, dispensing reading glasses and bring more joy to your mission trip. How many of you have distributed or dispensed reading glasses on a prior mission trip? Jim, okay. Danny, great, great, terrific. So I hope you will find this interesting, even if you've done it before, and maybe learn a couple new things. So here we go. So before we get started, though, I want to share a story from the field. You can see this is back in 2004, just about the time we started Restoring Vision. We had this testimonial and picture come in. The woman on the left is a seamstress in Guatemala, and she makes her living sewing and repairing clothes. But she is affected by what's called presbyopia, which is the inability to focus close up. And it hits all of us, and we'll talk more about that later. But the problem is, because she can't focus close up, she can't thread her own needles. And that's what the little girl is there for. That's her granddaughter, and her granddaughter has to stay home from school to thread needles for this woman so she can make money. Well, the guy on the right is a volunteer, and he's provided the woman with reading glasses. And thanks to a pair of reading glasses, this woman can now thread her own needles, and the little girl can go back to school. And it's an amazing benefit from just a simple pair of reading glasses. And it is not that unusual for kids to provide the eyes for their aging parents and grandparents. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, when we got that, we said, okay, I think we're on the right track. We're doing something important. So the agenda is we're going to start out with the problem generally, and then the solution, and then the specific need for reading glasses. What niche does reading glasses fill, and then how you can help. And it's really easy, which is the great part about reading glasses. So according to the WHO, there are 2.5 billion people. That's about 1 in every 3 people on the planet live with uncorrected vision impairment. And that ranges from severe and moderate to including blindness over here, which is about 150 million or so, to mild vision impairment, which is about 1.3 billion people, to near vision impairment, which is about 1.1 billion people. And that's the problem. And if you look at how it's distributed, this is not exactly precise, but so here's a bell curve showing people with the mild vision impairment in the middle here. Of course, if you had perfect vision, you'd be right at the 0 line. But mild vision impairment is somebody that needs a correction of +2 to -2, and you can probably gauge that from your own prescription. And then there are people that have both moderate, either they're very over here nearsighted, or they're very farsighted. Now, an interesting fact is that people in developing countries tend to be farsighted. Over here, they have hyperopia, and people in developed countries tend to be nearsighted or have myopia. The theory is that as people are developing in their youth, their vision, people in developing countries tend to spend more time outdoors, so their distance vision gets well developed. And people in developed countries tend to spend more time indoors, which means that their near vision tends to get developed more effectively. So that's just an interesting bit of trivia, but it also is important to know when we talk about reading glasses, particularly as it relates to developing countries. So what happens when we get these people glasses? Well, a study was done by the University of Michigan a number of years ago, and correcting somebody's vision, this is not specifically reading glasses, but correcting somebody's vision has a 20 to 35% increase in their productivity and a 20% increase in their wages. Now, 20% may not seem like a lot, but for a worker who's just making $5 a day, that amounts to about $250 to $300 extra in their family budget. So it does add up. And now I want to show you another study that was done pretty recently among tea pickers in India that gave them glasses. So this is a video that I'm going to try and do. Let me know, please say something if it's not playing or you can't hear it. Okay, so here's this button. Okay, so what that did is it really validated the numbers from the Michigan study, and the results were that, as you saw, productivity increased by 22% overall, but among people over 50, it increased by 32%. And most of these people got reading glasses, even though they had, the big fancy thing come down on their face and do their check their prescription. Most of the people just got reading glasses. Here's another study. This is from Lancet Global Health, and they talk about the importance of reading glasses. And they say, investing in universal eye health is realistic, cost-effective way of unlocking human potential by improving health and well-being, education, work, and the economy. And it is essential to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Those are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that were put out by the United Nations. So vision is an important part of that. So now we're going to talk about presbyopia, which means old eyes. So it's just one element of vision loss on that chart, but the important part about it is that it's vision loss. So what it means is the presbyopia, and I'll tell you and go in depth in a minute, but it comes on as you get older, hence the name, old eyes. So what happens is somebody that is able to read, is literate, their vision gets to the point where they can't focus on the page in front of them, and so they basically become illiterate. People that, like in the first example, who could thread needles, all of a sudden, or after a while, can't thread needles anymore. So it's really much worse to me than people that are born nearsighted or farsighted, because if they're nearsighted or farsighted, they learn to adapt their whole life. But presbyopia comes on in later life. So,
Mark, your
yeah.
screen is a full black screen from where your video ended. We're not seeing the outline you're referring to.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now?
Yeah, yes, now we're seeing your PowerPoint.
Okay, good. Thanks. So presbyopia is totally unrelated to nearsighted or farsighted. So you can be either one, and often people are both nearsighted and farsighted, and they get presbyopia. So what happens is that the muscle that flexes the lens in your eye weakens as we age. So just like you can't do as many pull-ups when you're 50 as you can when you're 20, so the muscle in your eye can't perform the way it did when you were younger. So what it means is then that you lack near vision. And it happens to both eyes at the same time. And it's noticeable in your mid 40s, plus or minus. And what happens is you just, because you can't focus close up, you start holding things further and further and further away, because you can focus at that further distance, but eventually your arms aren't long enough and you totally cannot see things that are close up. And it happens earlier for hyperopes, because hyperopes already need a plus lens. And so they already need a boost in their vision. And then when they get presbyopia, it just means they need even a bigger boost. So you need just some type of magnification, just simple, little microscope, not a microscope, what do you call those things that Sherlock Holmes uses? Anyway, so the maximum impact of presbyopia is usually plus 250, and that's a diopter, which is a unit of measurement in the optical industry. So reading glasses will cover that range, and I'll show you what reading glasses are. They're just plus magnifiers, like a little magnifying glass. That's what I was thinking of. And the power range is usually from a +1 to a +4. It's same in both eyes. But now hyperopes, as I was saying, they need plus glasses for daily wear. So if you myopes, most of us are myopes since we grew up in developing countries. What happens if you take off your glasses right now and hold them, the top part of them, because most of us are wearing progressive lenses. If you hold the top part of them over a line of type on or something on your desk, you'll see that the print gets smaller when you look through the glasses. And so myopes wear glasses that make near vision smaller, but hyperopes need glasses to make near vision larger. So hyperopes just need plus glasses for everyday wear. And then when they get presbyopia on top of that, they need even more and more power. Myopes, the great advantage of being a myope is that when you have presbyopia, you can just take off your glasses, because your glasses were minifying things close up, and you take them off and it's no longer minifying things. So myopes have an advantage when it comes to presbyopia, and you just take off your glasses, assuming you have glasses. So here's what the benefit can be with just reading glasses. So if you look at here, these are the hyperopes, which we said needed a small plus benefit. So that's a mild vision impairment. So they need a plus correction, and that's what reading glasses are. And then all these people here who are the age related, and that's basically people with presbyopia. So if you put these two groups together, 1.3 billion people on the planet just need reading glasses. So that's about 1 in 5 people on the planet that just need reading glasses. So that's a big problem. But what can you do? Can you help us solve this problem? Yes, you can. You can supplement your program, whatever your program is, and dispense reading glasses on your next trip. You guys are doing great work in whatever you're doing. And certainly I would not suggest that you stop doing that great work. Just the add on a day and have a reading glass clinic and maximize the impact of your program. You're over there anyway. Reading glasses don't take up much room in your suitcase. 500 reading glasses weighs about 30 pounds. So it's very easy to add them to your mission trip and make a lot of people very happy. So how do you go about dispensing the reading glasses? Well, the great thing about reading glasses is it's totally easy because people put on the glasses and they tell you when they have the right power. You don't need to use a phoropter or anything to figure out what the right power is. You just put on a pair of glasses. You see people at CVS, right? They put on a pair, no, I don't think so. And put on another pair, nah, I don't think so. Put on another pair, this is it. And that's about the way it is at a clinic. The great thing, again, no special skills are required. So maybe like a non-technical spouse, you people, don't want to be sexist, you people are going on trips, and maybe there's somebody back home that says, gosh, I'd like to go on one of the trips. You seem to have so much fun, do so much good, but what could I do? Well, here's the answer. A non-technical spouse can very easily do a vision clinic while you're doing whatever you're doing. The other thing, aside from being easy, is lots of people need them. So basically anybody over the age of 45, and as I said, because of hyperopia, many younger need reading glasses. So that's a lot of people. It provides an instant benefit. So, there are some RXs, you take a pill, wait for it to provide the benefit. This RX works immediately. You put on the glasses and boom, you can thread needles again. You can read the Bible again. You can count change. And that makes everybody happy because, again, as I said, again is the key word. They used to be able to read and they can't read anymore. They put on these glasses, they can read again. They sorting crops. We had somebody who, the issue was he had to sort the beans that he harvested from the pebbles. And so he put on a pair of reading glasses and boom, he can do it. So everybody's happy because it restores something that they had before, and you're the one that made it happen. It's pretty easy to have a vision clinic and help 300 to 500 people in a day. Do a lot of advertising, make sure everybody knows there's going to be a vision clinic, and you'll get a lot of people lining up first thing in the morning. So here's how to set up a clinic. So the first thing is, manage the crowd. We often suggest that you use a local volunteer just with a clipboard to check people in. And so people come up, the volunteer's there, what's your problem? Well, my eyes hurt, everything's blurry, everything's dark. You look and you can see that maybe they've got a pterygia or pterygium or something like that. And that's a probably bigger issue than you may be able to solve at this clinic. So you may refer them to a medical clinic. The other group comes in, well, things are blurry at a distance. Okay, well, that's a possible myope, but they may need close-up help as well. And so, let them in. Now, this is a situation that if you had an optometrist or an ophthalmologist on your trip, they could work here because we also offer distance vision glasses for groups that are going with an eye care professional. And so that's when, the eye care professional would set up, the chart that everybody's familiar with, the big E, 20 feet away, and then they can help figure out, and we've got booklets on how to suggest to do that, but they could determine if somebody is a myope, and we have glasses for them as well. And then the other people that come in is they can't see up close, and that's your target audience right there. And based on our experience with clinics, 40 to 60% of the people that come to your clinic are going to be in that group. It's something that happens so universally, and people know they've got a problem because they used to be able to do something and now they can't. And so you get a lot of people that need just basically reading glasses. I'd suggest that the volunteer also, takes down their person's name and their age. And then after they're checked in, they need to sit, in a socially distanced group, but from which you can tell who's first, who's second, who's third. So they may, sit on a bunch of chairs and then move up as places open up. But somehow you need to just keep them socially distanced, assuming you go when there's still COVID, and then have them come forward in a kind of in an order. And so the first table that they come to is the power checking table. Now you can have many power checking tables. This is kind of the first step after people are there, and it's really easy to set up the table. So here's the table, and what this is one of each of the different powers that you have. So there's 1 plus 1, 1 plus 150, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 250, 1 plus 3, and if you have more of the same. And then also a newspaper, a magazine, a needle and thread, something for them to test whether the power is right for them. So they come up there and you say, okay, so your problem is you can't see up close, right? Right. Okay, so you give them a pair of glasses, like maybe a +2, doesn't really matter. Higher for older people, lower for younger people. And they put it on, and can you read this newspaper or the Bible or a needle and thread, whatever they want to validate as when the glasses are working. And if it works, great. You got it on the first try, one and done. So write down the power for them. We had little pieces of paper with +1, +2, etc. printed on it, and they were just piled up at that power checking table. And so then once you'd find out their power, you just hand them this little piece of paper that says +2 on it. And then they go to the next stage. But if it's not, then you need to try another one. So one tip is if, they put on this pair of glasses that you give them, and they hold whatever they're trying to read further away to get it in focus, that means they need a higher power. So you just go from +2 to +250, and then put that on, and does that work? And again, yes or no. If it does, great. Give them that number and send them over to the next table. And if it doesn't, try the next one. So sometimes, you thought, oh, they needed a higher power, but they didn't. So you go down to a lower power. It's just back and forth. It's not critical that you get it the first try, and just keep working with the person until you get it. Now, if it just keeps going higher and higher, and you can't figure out why, because presbyopia, as we know, tops out at about a +250, but all of a sudden, they're at a +3, and it's still not working for them. The challenge may be that they are hyperoptic. So what that means is they need a little plus power for their everyday vision. What you do with them is you give them like a +1, and you say, don't use this for near reading, try this for distance. So they put on the +1 and they look around, and okay, all of a sudden, they can see clearly all around the room. mid-range, distance, but they still can't see up close. So what you need to do is then double up, kind of crazy, but it works, is double up with 2 pair of glasses. So the first pair, the +1s, are their everyday glasses. They wear those all the time. And then you take a pair of reading glasses and you put it on top of them, and that becomes their reading prescription. So you try that. So +1, and then maybe a +250 on top of it. And so the +1 is tighter up against their face, and then the +250 is maybe a little further down their nose. And all of a sudden now you've got a +350, right? Or maybe you take the +1 and add a +3, and then you've got a +4. So that should do it for them. So that's something to keep in mind, that sometimes happens when somebody's a hyperope but doesn't know it or hasn't ever been corrected for it. So then, okay, so this person has a little piece of paper, and 1 piece of paper or 2 pieces of paper, and they know what their prescription is. And then they walk over to the dispensing table. So they walk over, everybody, they know what their power needs to be, or what the correct power for them is. And you have this dispensing table, and here's how you set it up. So you put the powers that you brought on your trip on a piece of tape and label the table with the powers that you have. So +1, +150, +2, +250, etc. They walk up and they hand you, or the dispenser, the piece of paper that says +2 on it. And you say, okay, +2. These are all the +2s we have. So bring out one sample or more of whatever different styles you have here in the +2. And you say, okay, all these are your prescription. And they may, look and say, oh, there's one in the 250 that I like better. I like the style better. You got to say, no, but that's not going to work for you. This is what's going to work for you, this row. And then they find one they like. And a lot of times people say, well, I'm not 100% sure that, what I was wearing over at the other table is the same. So they'll want to put these on. And again, so it's a good idea to have some newspaper or a magazine or the Bible or needle and thread there, so they can just validate that the prescription that they are now about to walk away with is the same as the one that at the power checking table they found was the right one for them. So, label the rows. What do they need from the power testing table? Show them the row, pick the style they want, and done. And that is it. You have made their day, and they walk off. Maybe you'll need a pair of scissors to cut a tag off or something, but expect a lot of really happy people, because as I said, they used to be able to thread the needle. They can't thread the needle. You give them a pair of glasses, they can thread the needle. They could read the Bible. They lost the ability to read the Bible. And now, thanks to you, they can read the Bible again. So it's an amazing experience. Everyone is just so happy at these dispensing tables and getting the glasses, and just, thanks to you, you've made a big difference in their life. Like we said, potentially a 20% increase in their income. They'll be able to function. They'll be able to help their kids with homework, all sorts of things that they weren't able to do, that just because of a simple pair of reading glasses and they can do again. So I know I'm really short today, but we can have some questions. But so together, we can give, and you can give, the gift of sight to people in need around the world. And I would just say, let us help you succeed. Restoring Vision, we've been doing it for 18 years, helping people in developing countries. We've got dispensing videos in both English and Spanish. We've got guidelines for safe dispensing in times of COVID. suggested order pre-pack. So if you want 300 glasses, we've got a pre-pack that already comes with a recommended amount of low, medium, and high power, and also a mix between male and female. And if you can't find what you need on the website, send me an email, and certainly I will try and point you in the right direction. And that phone number will get you to it's actually just a recording and answering machine, but it'll get somebody that'll call you back and help you with your order. And amazingly, I had an hour, but here we are at 30 minutes. And I would like to answer any questions that you may have. You can, I don't know, Jenny, can people talk, or do they just have to type it in?
I'm going to jump right in. How's that?
I was going to say they can talk. They just have to
Okay.
unmute their microphone before they do.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, just want to say thanks, Mark, for a great presentation. And I hope that PowerPoint will be made available for sharing with others as well.
Of course.
But my big question is, and I'm sorry if you've said it or it was in the presentation or implied it and I missed it, but my big question is for those who are getting the nearsighted, the reading glasses, my assumption is they only wear that when they're either reading or picking the tea or whatever. That's not something they would leave on. Is that correct?
Yes, if I misstated that, that was an error. The hyperopes will leave their +1s on, but yeah, the people that are getting reading glasses, yeah, and sometimes you have to stop them because they want to walk out with the glasses on. And
yeah, well, that's my big reason for the question. And you probably said it. Like I said, I'm a little slow and I probably missed it, but I would almost think that would almost have to be, they would have to be trained or educated or told that you don't leave these on all the time.
Solamente para leer. That's about the only Spanish I know, but only for reading. Yeah. Yeah, that's something we have to say all the time. Gosh.
I have a question.
Yeah, Belinda.
Hi. How much notice do you need to get something together for our first clinic on a short mission trip? And then also, are there any regulations, for example, that you know of in other countries like Africa or Mozambique, as far as what I have to disclose when I bring that into the country? Or do I just pack it in my suitcase and go?
Just pack in your suitcase and go. We've had a couple issues at different countries that have tightened up on the restrictions. One of the things that some countries have an issue with is used glasses. They're starting to push back on that, but ours are all new, and sometimes you will run into problems, but it's pretty rare that happens. Just put them in your suitcase and go. We can, if you order one of the pre-packs, which are on the web, we can turn those around in a couple of weeks. You can get them in a couple of weeks.
And do you recommend?
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I guess I should say that the glasses aren't free. I wish they were, but they're
right.
50 cents a pair, but they're brand new. They're what you would get at CVS for, $18.
Yes. Do you recommend that two of us go from this end, or is that based on how much help we have on the other end?
You can do it with two people. One at the dispensary and the other the power checking table. But if you have more, you can throw more people into additional power checking tables, and because that's usually the bottleneck, because once you figure out the power, it goes pretty quick at the dispensing table. So you can set up for more people, set up another power checking table, and then if you get overwhelmed, you can get like a local volunteer to help you at the dispensing table, because that's pretty straightforward.
One last question. Is there any training for us on this end by you before we go, or just the presentation, or you just share?
There's a video that goes over in a little more depth the different steps in the power checking table and the dispensing table that's on our website. And so it's restoring vision, and then it's one of the drop downs says dispensing tips, and you'll find both the Spanish and the English version there.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Great presentation. Thank you for
Sure.
your time.
Thanks, Belinda. Thanks for the shout out, Jim. Appreciate it.
I'd like to say thank you, Mark. I'm a bit ashamed. I want to put the paper bag over the head and do that young pussycat thing. So I'm so ashamed of myself because you sparked a memory in me. Well, this is something you can get for your untrained spouse or your non-technical, excuse me, better term there, your non-technical spouse to do, and that's how. We've had many teams that I've worked with here in Guatemala, and that's usually what I've looked at that table where that area is. Well, this is where we put the untechnical, the non-technical people to do this. And pun is intended on this. This has been a real eye opener for me. Yeah, that's why I said it was intended, Rick.
All right, well, thanks.
Yeah. And thank you. It's been very good. Do you ever get, I have to ask this question, do you ever get where one eye needs much more than the other eye does for magnification? And how do you deal with that? Just kind of shoot for the middle?
It's generally something they've had from birth. And so they've learned to adjust to it.
Okay.
Right. So they have a dominant eye, and when you put on the reading glasses, they will work with the dominant eye and figure out which power is right for them.
Let me share something that I've had a problem with, and I apologize, but with the way we work with shipping containers mostly overseas and not sending teams, I think we've got some glasses from Mark in the past, not being at the purse now, but we tried to contact several of the large hospitals where they could use this program, but we don't have the people in the team to implement the action on the use of the glasses. So have you figured out a way to help with that, Mark? Because I'm still stuck. What I'd love to see is us have the reserve of the glasses in our warehouse, and then we had a hospital that agreed to implement the distribution. But I don't know whether there's been a cooperative effort between us and them to have that happen. I can see if there was a way to make that work, it would be great. Now, if I had Dennis down there in Guatemala, he could be the guy to go out to give them out, or Joe. But we don't have personal contacts with those hospitals so much where they'd be willing to do this.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. You're right. That's an issue. Hospitals are, excuse me, are very busy doing what they're doing right now. And to say, hey, why don't you add this on? It's not always something that they're able to do. We've been working with Rotary clubs in developing countries and, getting glasses to them, and they'll set up a clinic so that, it's something where we personally aren't going. So we send it through a Rotary club, and, they watch the video in Spanish. Well, we've been going to Spanish speaking countries, but they watch the video in Spanish and they set it up and they do a clinic. But you're right. It's the hospitals aren't looking for more work right now. That's more of a challenge. We've had good success with food distribution networks, like Food for the Poor has been great with us, because they are distributing, they have a network that distributes food and medicine, and they've added the reading glasses onto it because they have that type of group. But yeah, you're right, Jim. It's hard to get a hospital that's busy to add something else without providing them some type of staffing. All right, well, I'll give you 20 minutes of your day back. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for your questions, and yay tech. Thank you, Jenny, for making this opportunity available for me, and hope you guys have a chance to distribute some glasses, because it's great. It's just really energizing. So
Thank you, Mark. We've heard so many great testimonies from even those that are not here this morning that have dispensed your glasses, and just, you're right, the joy that it brings to their trip. So thank you for doing that, and thank the rest of your team as well, to Palin and Brooke and all of them. We just appreciate all of you. So
of course, and I will send you the PowerPoint.
oh, great. Thank you. I know that there will be some that'll want to use that in preparation for their trips. So all right, everyone, thank you. We will see you tomorrow at the exciting business meeting. And so everyone have a blessed day.
Great. Thank you.
Joe,
Bye.
hang on for a minute. Bye to the others, or anybody else who wants to hang in there. Dennis and Danny.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, I got, during the presentation, I received banking documentation, so I wanted to let you know that as soon as we're off here, I'm going back to the Nigeria visa attempt, so.
You're not pulling a Haiti on me.
No, I'm gonna try not. Jenny's chastised me because people are listening, but anyway, I wanted to let you know. And it's being recorded. She's got to edit this out now. Okay, see you guys.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Joe.
¿Cómo está, mi amigo?
Estoy bien. ¿Y tú cómo andas?
Más o menos. Más o menos. Algunos días más o menos más.
Qué bueno. Gracias a Dios. Keep up the good work, Joe.
Exactly. Good to see you on your feet, so to speak.
Thank you. I'm
You
also
guys
on
too.
a bicycle 12 miles a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just in the house or outside?
No, I ride at 5 o'clock in the morning with 4 other guys. We ride
for
10
you.
to 12 miles a day. It's great because it's a constant sword fight. We argue about religion, politics, denominations. And before you know it, the ride is over. It's great. Bye.
Bye.